Spacey's Sims, and we are back with more London Detective Mysteria. And still with a giant TV. I mean, obviously, because, like, hi. This is just, I think I recorded the last two parts back to back. I don't even remember what I did yesterday. If I did one or two parts, I don't know. But, like, holy shit, thing's huge. Oh, it's crazy. Anyway, I got really nothing. We just found Watson. We didn't really rescue him, even though we're about to say we rescued him. But we didn't really, because, like, I feel like he didn't really need rescuing, But anyway. It wasn't long after our rescuing Watson that we were reunited with Akechi and Kobayashi. Where's Colonel Moran? I'm afraid we don't know. He escaped as we apprehended Baron Swaling. Holmes, all three of us really, could not ignore the other man in the room. I didn't have any say in the matter. They forced me to do it. Hang it all, I had no choice. Baron Swaling erupted with excuses, nearly biting his tongue from the speed at which he delivered them. Tim. He was a frivolous, shivering mess. I seem to recall witnessing you rushing the contract when you first saw me, but could both my eyes and ears have deceived me? You want to know about Colonel Moran and Spellbound, right? I'll tell you everything I know. Phew! Well, that was easy. That was easy. You just hit the easy button. Please, don't hand me over to Scotland Yard. His voice was cut short by the streak of a bullet. What? What? I actually squeaked that. Well, that explains why he doesn't have a Sprite. The Baron smacked against the ground, a violent earthquake of movement from shock, clutching his shoulder and screaming his distresses with no end to his pleas. Help me! I don't want to die! Calm down. It's only your shoulder that was shot. It's such a sad thing to be unable to aim. Colonel Moran. I understand how you feel now, your lordship. Oh, do I ever. I don't really remember the voice we gave him, which was literally in the last part, but like some characters it just is like, I don't know. I got too many voices to deal with to figure you guys out, okay? You're an antagonist in this route. You're probably not going to be an antagonist in any other route. I don't need to remember you. I'm just making excuses for why I can't remember my voices. It was my intention to shoot a metal into your heart as a gesture of respect, but there's no poison more bitter to swallow than the first sight of the lesser man you've become. The colonel turned to Holmes, pistol still in hand. So, Holmes Jr., I must know your thoughts. Who do you want to save? Who should be allowed to live? Not you. Do you not think it a privilege to stand audience to a helpless murder? Is it not beautiful? Oh, it certainly is. So beautiful, it makes me sick. Gah! You damned! Holmes stepping towards Colonel Moran, and a second gunshot being fired happened nearly within the same fraction of time. I can't read, I can't. Perhaps the hastened assault was not part of the colonel's calculations, for the bullet fired was wholly reckless, missing its mark entirely and hitting a light fixture instead. Enough! He was not game to play an idiot a second time. Holmes's second strike was met with Colonel Moran's arm in defense, and at the fortunate cost of the pistol, which fell from his grip. He reached to pick it up again the moment he was free, but Holmes readied himself for just such an action. Not a chance. He sent the gun into the air with a kick. The force at which it was sent was harsh enough that no one could stand to run after it. Breath was held in anticipation of its landing. It's uncouth as it is to have bullets flying through the air without guns flying along with them. Yet fortune was still with Holmes. The weapon found a nimble landing in the hands of Marple, whose arrival could not have been more convenient under circumstances so tense. Scotland Yard, stay where you are! Large numbers of police officers in familiar uniforms arrived with her. All others we spotted on the way have been taken into custody as well. Thank you so much, Marple! My lady! Pendleton! Pendleton, my darling. Sorry, that's not what she would say to him, but it's what I would say to him. Pendleton approached me quickly upon sight. All machinery in the factory has been halted per your orders. Wonderful, Pendleton. Pendleton, You were very brave, Holmes. Running fearlessly towards a man with a gun is not something ordinary men can do. Thank you. Colonel Moran! His weapon lost and short on options, Colonel Moran fled into the factory. If he gets away now, we'll lose our chance to prove Holmes's innocence. You wait right there! Pissed off woman. She's like, I'm gonna take you down! It's gonna be so unladylike, but she's gonna take that motherfucker down. Don't you mess with my boyfriend. All I thought to do was pursue him. Miss Whitley! Holmes, leave everything here and go after her. Thank you. Holmes wasted little time following. The only thing on my mind was finding the Colonel. I made quick, sharp turns and fitted myself through several narrow corridors, leaving no route unchecked before I finally found him. Colonel Moran! We met in a vast room containing a blast furnace, a beast of a machine used in the process of smelting. It glistened with a gorgeous foreboding from a red blush. It encased flames so hot and so bright, I could only peek at them before feeling as if my eyes would soon melt to nothing. Oh, he's gonna fucking fall in this shit. It was thin and the sweltering air being blown upwards that left me choking on my every breath. Oh, it was this and the sweltering air being blown upwards that left me choking on my every breath. I could see where this could potentially go down the bad route and like be like, no, Hobbs is dead! And like, well, fuck. Whitley, what have you come after me for? To expose the truth. The wind that boiled between us distorted his body, a contortion of man and devil that was coiling, changing, surging unnaturally, except for his eyes. They remained the same. I could have frozen in place by fear, but I could not allow fear to get the better of me now. Truly, in my heart of hearts, I was hoping you would say to kill me. I don't understand. Well, I imagine you do hate me enough to desire my death. Your mother and father are reason enough. Did you kill my parents? Wait, you can't spoil that shit on me right now. What do you know about them? I thought they were who you meant when you mentioned exposing the truth. But I see I was wrong. And then why pursue me? What drives you to put your life in danger? Your actions harmed Holmes's good name, as well as the good name of his father. You stood to gain nothing from doing this, so why? Why did you do it? Because we humans are vile creatures. For every bit of suffering inflicted upon us, we long to inflict the same on someone else. That's a little harsh. For the first time since our encounter, the Colonel no longer looked at me, but somewhere far off that I could not see. After I lost my wife, the battlefield was the only place I could call home. After I lost the battlefield, I had nowhere I could call home at all. That was until he graciously gave me solace, until he gave me a new reason to live. He? And all it took was one man to come and steal it from me, to plunge me into a misery I never wished to know again. Sherlock Holmes! If it wasn't for you meddling kids! And that's Sherlock Holmes! I'm trying to turn that into a Scooby-Doo meme in my head, but anyway. I'll never forget what I saw that day. The sight of him hurtling towards the valley's bottom, cast down by him. Moriarty? Because we know Moriarty's in this game. I know he fucking is. I'm just really surprised he didn't show up as the antagonist in this route, so like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, he told me that this world needs opposing forces to remain in balance. People are no different in that regard. Humans must walk the tightrope between pain being dealt and pain being received. There you have it. I will never forget this pain. It reminds me that I can do what I must without pause, however cruel, however merciless. Did he just punch me? In record speed to which I could not reach, he closed the gap between us. I felt a jerk as he gripped my collar. His strength made it impossible to move. Holmes should have caught up to us by now, is all I'm saying. The pressure, the heat, and all the elements of this moment made it difficult to breathe, and I felt myself losing consciousness. Jesus, girl, you gotta lose. You know what? Pendleton, this is why you don't tie my corsets as fucking tight. He grabbed me and I'm like, oh, fainted. It's the corset is what it is. And Pendleton's pulling it really, really fucking tight. Like, you need to have a girly waist, you're too fat. And you're like, I'm gonna die if you pull it any tighter. But look, this is why I pass out all the time. I'm saying I'll you know, I wanted to make fun of her for a second. I wanted to be like, oh, seriously, gonna just like fucking pass out like already? Like, oh, I just lose consciousness. Like, I'm so pass out. Cough, pass out. But it really is the corset probably being way too tight. She can't get some air, so just saying. It's not really her fault. But I still mustered the strength to reach out my hand. Was I seeking help? Was I of help? That's the weirdest thing. I felt no accountment for my actions, and yet I did it still. With all that I had left of me, my eyes filled with tears. I don't know if it was crying truly, but I could barely see the man now. Everyone has nights when they're terrified to be alone, or they have scars that refuse to disappear. That's why the people who spend those nights with you to help you tend to those wounds are to be treasured. What could a sheltered noblewoman like you know about my life of pain and agony? Perhaps you're right. I may not know anything, but I've experienced what it is to lose nearly everything once before, at least. What happened between you and my family is to remain in the past. I swear to you, I have no intention of staining your honor, because you've shown me your scars. I'm gonna stain your... He's stained his own honor. What the fuck kind of noble bullshit are you pulling? Like, oh, it's okay. Nah. He's a murderer and a douchebag. You gotta pay for that shit. Like, look, I can't judge you. Like, the court's gonna judge you, and then God's gonna judge your ass. But I'm just saying, like, you going to hell. I'll be the first person there to meet you with a red hot poker to jab you with the whole time, because, like, I'm going to hell. I mean, Jesus. But, like, for fuck's sake, they're like, I'm not going to stain your honor. No, I'm pretty sure he took care of that on his own. Just saying. Like, why we gotta take responsibility for, like, everything? Like, what is with these women? What is wrong with them? I just don't get it. She's like literally like I'll save you. No! No! He's beyond saving, honey. Girl. Well, unless you're just saying shit to try to save yourself. Then okay, then I totally get it. We'll just go with that. I looked at him as directly as I was able. My breathing and vision continued to fail me, and now the furnace's heat tingled my skin, burned it, but the pain that should have been there was absent. The stare he maintained contorted again in a way I can only faintly comprehend. I thought I was the one who should be frightened, but to my vague sense, he appeared more so. You're a silly girl, Miss Whitley. I only told you what you'll be taking to your grave. Threatening words, and beneath that an uncertainty, the distinct rattle of doubt in his tone. I could feel it as much, for I suddenly found breathing to be only slightly easier to manage. Then why have you relaxed your grip on me? Why did you set a trap that would lead Holmes to you? What did you... Oh, to expose. I thought that read... I don't know why I read that as escape. I can't read. What did you want him to expose? Colonel Moran's wincing was accompanied by the shuddering of his shoulders. It was light at first, then it grew with an involuntary intensity. I knew full well that I was moments from death, which caused me to wonder, was it the inevitability that sharpened my senses? Or was it simply knowing that kept me from breaking down into sobs and protestations? Do not mock me, girl! I was frightened out of my wits, but there was no running from this. Not now! I closed my eyes. I grit my teeth. I waited to be sent to my death. And then nothing came. Don't you touch her. Too late, he's already touching me, I'm just saying. No pain. No death. Instead, the sound of a very familiar voice that filled me with a great warmth. Despite the fact that I'm already sweltering in a warm room, but whatever. It was a warmth I knew and welcomed with all my heart. It's an internal kind of warmth. It belonged to the man who held me as I cried, and cried endlessly. He would always be in my memory. Holmes. Holmes had come between us to block the Colonel's oncoming fist. Miss Whitley, need I remind you that you were the one who instructed I not leave you behind? Yet here you are doing just that, as you always do, without any regard for your health. You're a truly brave, truly reckless young lady. I'm not certain I'll ever be able to understand you. Holmes's hand, which had grasped onto Moran's fist, twisted the Colonel's arm upward. As Colonel Moran withdrew his hand, without thinking, the first thing I did was cling to Holmes's back. This CG is in, like, the intro. Like when you watch the intro segment. Holmes, I'm so sorry. Miss Whitley, if you're going to go on with apologies, I prefer you do me a favor. Stay here with me. He's so adorable. What? I was so quiet, I wasn't certain if I'd heard right. Oh, it was so quiet, I wasn't certain if I'd heard right. I want you to stay here and watch. Watch me not run away from anyone. Watch me not run away from you. Holmes? I wanted to see his expression so much right then, but I couldn't see a thing behind the tears. Why must I keep crying? Now, what did it matter if I cried again? You've turned me into a coward. You've turned me into a weeping child. Because of you, I'm not the person I used to be anymore. I see. But even so, Holmes, I still love you. So I want to stay here with you. Look at his eyes. He's like, what? The confession manifested suddenly before I could stop it. I struggled to put my thoughts into words. Through the struggling and weeping, a weight lifted, for I wanted him to know everything I was feeling. I wanted to tell him that I wanted to be with him. Thank you. Look at his face. It's adorable, but it's also like, yeah, because I'm awesome. Like, it's funny you say that. I feel exactly the same way. These confounded tears, they kept me from seeing the very person I wanted, no matter how much I rubbed my eyes. But I just saw enough to suspect the words were awkward for him to say. But it was all worth that adoring smile. And Colonel Moran's like, you fucking done? Like, are we gonna do that? Like, what's going on? He's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I love it. I cannot stop thinking of that wretched day. The day when I thought I had lost my little living. Your expression, it's the same as his. He had it just before he stole everything from me. I've never once been happy to be told any part of me was like my father. But with now being the first exception, I suppose, it pleases me to hear it. It does. I understand how he must have felt then. Yeah! He's like ready to punch people. Oh. That little determined face is adorable. My father must have been willing to put everything on the line to stop the man responsible for more horrors in London than any other. Committing crimes and exposing them are two sides to the same coin, and there is but a fine line between them. He surely felt it was his duty. And so he became strong enough to follow through, because he had something he wanted to protect so dearly that he was willing to risk it all. And you're here to tell me that you, too, have that strength? Yes, I do. Still, I'm not as skilled a detective as my father is. That's why I can only put my life on the line for things I can see with my own eyes. Putting your life on the line is pretty, and such a nostalgic phrase to hear. When I was a soldier, putting my life on the line to protect my homeland was my greatest desire. It was back when my wife was still alive. Look, I get it, you're sad she's dead, but that doesn't mean you go off and, like, murder other people. Like, seriously, that's, like, a little extreme. I wonder what would have been had I devoted myself to something else. No, I won't have such frivolities weigh on me. We're to end this, Holmes, Jr. Ahem. I don't know what's happening with his voice. It's just, like, escalating into weirdness. The hot wind still whirled around them. Colonel Moran slowly clenched his fist and assumed a low stance. I'm a man who once lived as a warrior. I have my pride as one. If you intend to stake your life on this battle, then I shall respond in kind. I wouldn't have it any other way. The two stood facing one another, ready for battle. I waited. Ha! Colonel Moran made his move against Holmes, signaling the start of their duel. Fisticuffs! I could see their silhouettes locked in combat through the heated haze. Ugh, are you even looking? Holmes dodged Colonel Moran's fist by a hair's breadth before going on the offensive. I haven't been there for a while. Now very close to the colonel, he thrust his fist and elbow into him one after the other. The impact caused Moran to stagger backwards. Before he could right himself, Holmes followed with another strike. What's up, Booger? Bye, Booger! You! Colonel Moran wasn't to remain on the defensive forever. He grabbed Holmes's arm and struck him fiercely with his knee. Holmes felt immense pain from the blow, though he refused to let it stop him. Rather than give in, he righted his posture to leave no opening unnoticed. You're a strong man, I must admit. I'll do my best not to aim for your arm. Holmes! Ah! No matter how many times he was punched, no matter how many times he was kicked, Holmes never stopped fighting. I could see new bruises and wounds appear from nothing, but I couldn't turn away from the sight. I'm right here, Holmes. I won't run away from you. God damn you. Bert, it's okay. It's fine. It's people punching in a game. You don't have to, you're fine. I'm right here. Their duel raged more fiercely than the roar of the furnace. Yet all duels must end. So I feel like if you get the bad end, maybe you die or Holmes dies. This could be, oh God. Oh my God. They leave that like, oh, I wonder if this is, I don't really know. Like I still don't have my guide open, but like, she's the forest. I am the rock. I wonder, okay, hold on. I'm actually going to pull up my tablet for a second. I'm assuming it's for Colonel Moran. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I just want to see if that was the last chapter. If this is the... All right, while it's turning on, we'll start reading. We stood at Highgate Cemetery in North London. Oopsie! I hit the wrong button! Sorry. It resembled a garden more than a cemetery. Well-tended flower beds and shrubberies decorated its corners. Droplets from the previous day's rain still remained along the grass, and the mist hanging in the air gave the area something of an ethereal feel. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. No, I think we got the good ending. I was just looking at the chapter things because obviously, like, we're at the end. I don't think we have choices here. You don't. Okay, all right. You don't get Colonel Moran's revenge if you get the bad ending. You don't even get that chapter. So we wouldn't have even seen that chapter if we were on the bad ending. So that's a good thing. So I'm assuming Colonel Moran is fucking dead, and that's what it is. Anyway. I didn't think when we're at the cemetery, I'm like, it's not Holmes. Come on. Like, it's not. I wasn't worried, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, you never know. Like, it's like 10%, maybe. Like, well, I could be wrong, but I was leaning like 90% to it's Colonel Moran. I mean, could be someone else, but that would be my guess. My lady, please be mindful of where you step. I heeded Pendleton's warnings as proper, taking extra care of my footing as we went further into the cemetery. Oh, unless you're going to visit your parents, maybe. We soon reached the grave we had come to visit, only to find there was someone already standing before it. Holmes! I wanted to run to him, but I was able to suppress the urge. Miss Whitley, Pendleton, are you well enough to walk now? By all appearances, he was more bandages than skin, and whether they dressed flesh wounds, hard cuts, deeper bruising, or some other horror, it did not matter. He looked more suited to a hospital bed than here. Indeed, I can go about my life as normal. I know I skipped before I was finished reading that. Like, are you here for this gravestone too? Yes. I turned my eyes to observe the gravestone in front of Holmes. It was small, plain. The name engraved upon its surface was the only thing that made it unique. Indeed, it was the name we heard through boiling winds. Holmes and Colonel Moran's battle was hard fought and desperate for both men. Yet the fact remained, all duels must end. The first to fall to his knees was the Colonel. You're coming with me. Holmes stared down at the military man and ordered his conditions frankly, but he too was quite broken. An arm that needed to be held by the other for support, 2 feet which dragged and horrible aches. He could barely stand, but standing alone was enough to be made the victor. Holmes. I desperately wished I could be his support. But were I to do that, I would obstruct him from finishing his business with Colonel Moran as a detective. The best thing, I concluded quietly, would be to watch over him and bear witness to his actions. You aren't going to kill me? I would gain nothing from killing you, and you're our ticket to Spellbound's inner workings. I'll use you to lay your organization bare. To me, this victory over you is only the beginning. I do hope you're ready for worse. I certainly respect your tenacity, if nothing else. You really are, just like your father, Holmes Jr. The comment was barely audible and distinctly free of his festering anger and hatred. Scotland Yard, don't move! As if on cue, police officers swarmed from the corridor behind me. I mean, it took you fucking long enough. We're here to apprehend everyone related to that organization. Do not try and resist. He's gonna jump into the thing. Permit me to tell you one last thing, Holmes Jr. What the fuck is doing with this? I don't know what I'm doing with it. Just, you know what, just with or without me, Spellbound will thrive. All will be as Professor James Moriarty wishes it. I told you Moriarty was in this. Although, and his son is in it. Ah! Oh my god, are they gonna make a second one, or we're gonna have like a route? We need a route with Pendleton, and I need a route with like Moriarty Jr. I mean, come on. We're already gonna have a route with Jack the Ripper. He's a fucking murderer, and Lupin's a thief. I'm just saying, we start out going for Holmes, and then we go for Watson, and then we go for Akechi, and it's like, those are all like noble detective people, and they're like Disney princesses, and you know, whatever. Well, you know, Watson's a Disney princess, but still, you know, but they're all good, and then we like, what, could do Lupin and Jack, and it's like, then we go for the thief and the murderer. I mean, we're just it's straight descent into hell. So all I'm saying is, second game, Moriarty and Pendleton. Like, you know, it's just, I'm just gonna need that. And like, maybe we marry Marple. Those are like side routes, and those are like, we're best friends. I don't think we actually date them. Although it'd be kind of interesting if the Marple ending was like, you date Marple, because like, well, we're going against the Pendleton is going to be appalled. He's going to clutch his pearls. I don't know. Nothing can corrupt his plan. Nothing. I don't know what I'm doing with his voice. What the fuck is going on? The colonel paid the officers no heed. He turned his back on them, not in rebellion, but in reverence to the light of the furnace. He walked to it, his arms lifted, extended as far out as he could to worship this light. Oh god, he's gonna walk right into it? Ah! The only thing in his sights was the drop. Ah! Wait! No, don't! Farewell, proud detective. Ah! Colonel Moran plummeted off the edge. Kind of knew that was going to happen, but at the same time, it's still horrifying. I was like, they're going to fight, he's going to fall off the edge. Like, no! But, I was still, I knew, but I wasn't prepared. There was nothing to be done as he, for one last time, vanished into the swirling pit of fire below. Pendleton, you said you turned off all the machines. Why is the furnace still on? Probably takes a while to go out, that's all I'm saying. Pendleton, you failed me. Professor James Moriarty. Holmes read the name on the gravestone. Ah, right, because Moriarty said, oh, because they kept saying he faked his death and I was like, gotta be fucking, like, come on. We kind of, you knew where that was going. We all knew. Anybody who's read any Sherlock Holmes, you've seen Sherlock, you've watched fucking Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies, you fucking watched everything. You little and watched Wishbone play fucking Sherlock Holmes. Does anybody else remember Wishbone? Like, he was the little dog, and he like read, like, they don't have shows like that. Like, I feel like kids need shows like that. He was like the cute little dog who like told like classic literature, was like, oh, and he like in a cute kind of way. Like, I'm just saying. I had the Wishbone like play Sherlock Holmes episode on DVD. Because it was Sherlock Holmes. I actually have a couple, not on DVD, on VHS. It's so fucking old. On VHS. And I do have my VCR somewhere. I don't know where my VCR is. The fuck is it? I thought I still had one. I don't know where it is. Weird. Anyway, yeah, so this plot was made when my father killed him, presumably under Moriarty's orders to have everyone believe he was truly dead. Professor Moriarty, the criminal who gave Colonel Moran new life and Mr. Holmes' sworn enemy. He's the true mastermind behind all that's happened, and he is most certainly alive. To think that all the money Baron Swaling prepared for the contract was taken from under our noses, too. According to his lordship's testimony, he was ordered to prepare gold coins, silver coins, paper money, and items converted into foreign currency. And Spellbound is an enemy to be reckoned with to take so much without even Scotland Yard noticing. There was one other standout benefit to all of this. We had proven Spellbound still existed to the Yard. They were previously reluctant to believe Colonel Moran orchestrated the incidents, but after our final encounter with them, the truth rang all too clear. It gave us the ammunition we needed to prove Holmes and his father innocent, which would have been a cause for celebration in any other circumstance, yet I was in no mood for cheer. Colonel Moran would have been able to connect us to Professor Moriarty. Scotland Yard is doing all they can to investigate the Spellbound without his information, of course. But it would be best not to expect favorable results. I agree. I wish it were, but this case is still not truly over. I recalled what the Colonel said to me. Whitley, what have you come after me for? Well, I imagine you do hate me enough to desire my death. Your mother and father are reason enough. I thought he was merely taunting me, but now I'm not so sure. He must have had some connection to mother and father. No, not some. He was a direct link to nearly ending the Whitley name. Now he's gone, and I've no way of finding out for certain what that link was. Oh, there they are. You were right. I noticed Watson walking between the trees in our direction. Have you finished... Oh, ahem. Have you finished your business, Watson? Yes, bringing him to you is simple enough work. Watson turned as if to introduce his traveling companion, but he was a man who needed no introduction. I still love Sherlock, I do. Good to see you, Mr. Holmes. He's finally been released from the Yard's custody, and you won't even go meet him. Well, I did suspect I'd find you here. It's a gravestone worth the sight by our standards. Sherlock Holmes looked down at Professor Moriarty's grave. It was all for show. All these years and no one was buried underneath it. It shames me to admit it, but yes, I believed him to be dead. I've never mentioned this to you, but Colonel Moran was present when the Professor and I fought. When he thought he lost the men for good, he charged me before I could say another word. I shan't forget his expression when he did so. It was one of immeasurable anger and sorrow. Are they lovers? My wife is dead and I fell in love with Moriarty. Ooh! Somebody's got to be gay in all of these games. Come on. To this day, I've yet to see another man become so lifeless in the eyes upon his arrest. Oh, to witness the life return to him when he learned the Professor was alive. Before the Colonel died, he said something to me. I certainly respect your tenacity, if nothing else, and that I was like you. In a way I cannot describe, I believe Colonel Moran was paying his respects to his longtime adversary in his final moments. The act was merely paid through his son, who grew more similar to him by the day. Now I've seen it, I don't think I can forget his expression either. Well, quite unexpectedly but pleasingly, I found myself heavily in your debt. I don't know what's happening with his voice either, like, whatever. The statement was made truer with features of boundless pride for his son. I mean, it seriously is, like, it could just be his hair, but, like, Holmes's head is, like, 4 times bigger. Like, it's bigger. Like, Holmes's head is, like, wee! It's just weird how they make... Well, like, even Pendleton, he's drawn like an elf prince. He doesn't really look like any of us. Like, we look like giant, like big forehead alien. We look like alien dolls. We've got like these giant top of our heads, our giant eyes, and then the rest of our face is scrunched down here. Like, right? I mean, technically, but anyway, proportion. But you know what I mean? Like, we look slightly awkward the way we're drawn, or especially us because our eyes are literally where our fucking nose should be. Um, but then it's like it is a drastically it just weirds me out sometimes because I'm like and I know it's supposed to be like the adult, the child, but it's just weird that like it's almost like we're you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird, and I know you can see it by looking. It's like it's just awkward. There's an awkwardness that I'm just not quite getting why they went this way. Like with how different like the adults are to the kids. Like I get it, like we're children, we're not supposed to look like adults, but like it's almost like they're like similar art styles but not the same, even though it's probably the same people that did all it, but it's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when you're looking at a game, you're like, okay, this person's old, this person's young, and there's like a consistency in the art style. There's just something about the two of them when they're on the screen together, and you're like, something is weird. I don't know what it is. Like we're like a slightly chibier version of like normal characters, and then he's like straight up normal anime style. just it's like Holmes, and maybe it's just Holmes has a weird alien look. Maybe it's just him. I don't know. Like, I mean, all the kids have giant kind of eyes, but like, it's just I don't know what it is. It's just something that like in the back of my head is like, this is just awkward to me. I'll get over it. I got over her derpy eyes and like being. I'll never get over the derp eyes on half these girls. Anyway, you were trapped, but you never gave up. No, you thought it better to wrestle the cage using your own strength. Or wrestle the case. Why did I say cage? I can't read. You know I can't read. Just whatever. I give up. I'm done. Okay, goodbye. I'm done. This is just. I don't even. Anyway. As well as that of your nearest and dearest. You have made some very fine, dependable friends. I don't know what's happening to his voice. I don't know what I did, and I'm losing. I can't. I'm not okay today. Father, you did yourself proud, Junior. Simple as they were to say, he struggled to voice them. I've never seen him like this before. He mumbled and mulled over how to articulate his pride pride the same as a child, and it was the imperfection that made what he said carry a sincerity that would have otherwise been lost. Oh my god, I need a hug moment. He then placed a hand on Holmes's shoulder, giving it an equally sincere squeeze. Why? I need a CG of this! Oh, okay, thank you. I wanted one where you could see both of them. See, and then when they do like this, it like matches the art style. But there's something about his sprite that's just like his eyes are down here in the sprite. Like instead of like, you know what I mean? It's just. As a father, I could not be more proud of you. You have become a fine, dependable young man. Holmes did not respond. The silence itself spoke volumes. You changed a little as well, Holmes. When I first met him, Holmes was not the kind of man who would listen to his father. It was wonderful to see how he had changed into someone who could accept the love of those around him. Father, this case has helped me to understand something. You're an utterly hopeless parent who uses his son to settle his unpaid debts for him. I cannot deny it. Like, yeah, pretty much. Your personal life is as slovenly as your parenting. In numerous ways, I could count you the peak opposite of a role model. I would count you the peak opposite of a role model. I suppose that is true as well. You love to play the violin whenever the urge strikes you, be it morning or the blasted middle of the night, and it brings no short amount of noise and irritation. But you are no better than me in this regard. What a terrible, right pitiful example of a father you are. Nothing was said in turn. Still, I feel as though facing off against the same adversary you once did has allowed me to learn more about you. He's like, you basically suck as a parent, but like, I love you anyway. Like, aww. Just as the professor gave him a new life, your tenacity inspires the masses to deliver only their best, and it awakens them to the truth. Holmes faced his father with so stern a focus he could not even blink. It would look to be a tense confrontation from an outsider's perspective, but from the insider's, the glare only punctuated how strongly he wished to express his thoughts. As a detective, I look up to and respect you, even if you have a long road ahead of you to earn the same as my father. Oh, okay, I was like, what? Even if you have a long way as my father. Okay. I half read that. I was like, my brain was somewhere else as I was reading that. So anyway, I'll have you know that I'm ready to take the journey. How optimistic of you. At the very least, I'll be expecting you to keep your own office in order. Then. Holmes averted his gaze, at this point feeling the stress of the new bond he had sutured, content not to stimulate the embarrassment rising within him. Now, despite progress being made, Spellbound remains at large. Indeed, so long as Professor Moriarty draws breath, I don't believe we can ever call this case solved. It's your fault I'm now involved in all this mess. Don't even think of goading me to leave it be by saying I'm too young. Ha! I have a feeling you'll be giving me a bit more cheek from now on. Whether I should feel nervous or reassured for that remains to be seen, but I do know I've managed to raise quite a fearsome boy. I shall take that as a compliment. The touching father-son moment, I love it. Because it's Sherlock fucking Holmes. Like fearsome father, like fearsome son. They both had the same confident smile down to the way their lips were crooked at one corner. You'll have to take care not to get in the way of my work. I believe that's my line, father. Stand up from over here. It's as if I'm seeing double. Well, at least you know what your future husband's going to grow up to look like, Spacey. Do we get to meet all their dads? Again, I don't want to meet Lupin's dad. I don't want Arsène Lupin in this game. I don't. I can't handle it because my brain needs to imagine Lupin from Code Realize, and especially because right now Code Realize Wintertide Miracles is uploaded for you guys. I haven't started recording it yet, but you're already seeing it at this point, so like, this is kind of fun. It's kind of fun having those two games going at the same time, I'm sure. Because it's like Lupin and especially because, you know, all the voices are kind of like Watson's the impy voice. Sherlock is kind of, well, not exactly. He's got more closer to the Van Helsing voice, I guess. I can't quite remember the voice I gave Van Helsing, though. Yeah, I mean, fuck, it's gonna be hard to pull. Okay, guys, you've already seen it, but I have not recorded it yet. Like, so I don't know what's gonna happen with the voices in that one. Like, I'm like literally like, frick, I don't remember what I did. It's gonna be awkward. Anyway, that's funny. I was gonna say the very same thing. Yeah, right? It's gonna be awkward. That's what you meant. Though they refused to give in to their egos, they were finally at a place where they could admit one another's strengths without shame. The darling sight was so infectious that even I chanced to smile. There you are, my boy. I don't know what to do with Lestrade, but anyway.
I told him again and again that I didn't know when you would be back. Each and every one of your potential clients left with a simple how do and wave of thanks, but oh, not this one. He insisted on waiting until you returned.
Now, miss, there's no need for the fuss. Your tea was worth the wait, in my opinion.
God, and now he thinks he can butter me up.
Okay. I know she's kind of irritating sometimes. It's really just the voice I give her. It irritates me, so if it irritates you, I'm not sorry. Like, whatever, deal with it. But I actually do kind of like her. She's like, She's actually kind of cute. Hudson promptly thumped down the stairs, all the while swinging her arms about and expulsing frustrations like a kettle at boiling point. I apologize for keeping you, Inspector. I ask while you're here. I didn't think Holmes needed watching over now. He doesn't, but we've some business to discuss, as it were. We weren't on our best with you during this case. Belligerent even, whilst distrusting you. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive us for doubting your innocence. Inspector Lestrade, unsure of what reaction his apology would give, only held out his hand in hopes that Holmes would shake it. We should have been quick to realize you and your father would never do any such things, but look at us. Please, you needn't speak another word, Inspector. Just as we detectives prioritize solving cases over all else, Scotland Yard prioritizes the safety of London's people. With that in mind, it comes as no surprise that you would hold anyone who has the slightest potential to harm them accountable. Thank you. And remember, you permitted me to take part in the Lupin investigation despite my position as a suspect. I consider that paying your debt in full. Shall we call it even? You're your father's son, all right. On behalf of Scotland Yard as a whole, you have our most sincere gratitude for your efforts to solve this case. We'll never forget the bravery and intellect. It's been a true pleasure. As Holmes reciprocated the open hand before him with a firm grasp, there was a feeling that this appreciation was not simply a formality, but rather a personal gesture on the inspector's part as well. I'm a fool not to have said it sooner. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, you and your father are indispensable to our work in the city. Is it appropriate for an employee of the Yard to say that? I fancy being an honest man from time to time. Oh yes, I was sure to pass along word of your accomplishments to the Academy. You two will work to the end of your days if we have anything to say about it. Don't be shy when we come knocking on your door. I mused to myself, the tiniest crack of a smile coming to light. An ulterior motive. What a brilliant way to ruin such a sweet sentiment. In fact, consider me banging on your door right now. I have a few things I should like your opinion on, you see. In no time at all, Inspector Lestrade conjured an assortment of documents from his coat, opening files and pointing to this and that emphatically in hopes of soliciting Holmes's thoughts on the particulars. I mused myself a second time. He was planning this all along. Suppose he can't bring himself to ask Mr. Holmes for help. The arrest might still be a sore spot for him. I doubt Holmes expected to be quite this busy so soon after his name was cleared. Hudson made mention of several other potential clients who visited, and though he wasn't available, they seemed enticed enough by his services to come another day. So many people need him. That's a lovely thing. Of course it is. What is the matter with me? I ought to be happy for him, but all I feel is lonely. Excuse me, Spacey? What is it? I don't know if it's my place to ask, but, have you spoken with Holmes since the case was closed? Why him? Well, a bit. We spoke when he was in hospital, and again in the cemetery just earlier today. Not like that. A different talk. I wanted to know if you had the chance to get your differences sorted, or whatever it may be. It could have all been in my head, but I've had this impression that you've been keeping him at arm's length lately. I was startled. It wasn't in his head at all. Watson noticed a deliberate act on my part. Why? This is the charmed ending. I mean, whatever the good ending is. The destined ending, I think. But I made that promise to Pendleton. And then I have two conditions for doing so. One, I am to remain by your side at all hours until this case has seen its end. Two, upon its end, you must never meet with Holmes alone under any circumstances. Will you honor these two conditions? He forgave so much that I can't possibly break my word to him. It was true that I wished to never leave Holmes's bedside when he was in hospital. And when I saw him in the cemetery, standing alone and looking very solemn, I fantasized, running to him and alleviating that solemnness. But a promise was a promise. It was my responsibility to uphold. Besides, with his name having been cleared, Holmes's trust with the people is stronger than it ever was. What reason do I have to stay with him? Spacey, what is it? You're awfully quiet. Oh, pardon me. No, it's all right. I'm the one who was meddling, so I should be saying that. He gave me a smile in hopes I would grant one in return, but I could see the worry in his eyes. I couldn't find the expression to respond. My lady, we ought to depart soon. Oh my! I didn't know it was so late already. His conversation with the inspector seems to have barely gotten to the heart of it. And I've no business worth bringing up either. I'm more of an unwelcome guest if I stay any longer. There, a mountain of excuses, each one plenty fit for leaving, and so Pendleton and I set off for the mansion. Why, Pendleton, why are you so heartless? You're bloody spectacular, I must say. If I didn't just see you narrow down the culprit from a simple overview, I'd have thought it was all my eye and elbow. You're as dependable as your father, you know. That's the 7th time you've said that today, Inspector. Is it? My fault. Regardless, I think I've been here long enough. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Finally! About time he left!
Hudson entered the room carrying a tea set. Oh, more tea? Thanks, Hudson.
Nonsense! You two have been hard at work on that case, so I'm certain you must be tired. I'd hoped to make some for Spacey too, but she left before I could.
Holmes sat in silence, sipping away in a refined yet wholly obnoxious manner. It was a sort of stuffy, padded silence for those who were less adept at hiding their feelings. If you want her to leave, why didn't you... If you didn't want her to leave, why didn't you simply ask her to stay? What rubbish is this? Inspector Lestrade believed you were concentrating on his case the entire time, but you can't fool me. You've been in a foul mood since she left. It's all over your face. This is how my face always looks.
Really? Even I can tell you're out of sorts. I'm rather used to your complaints as you nitpick my tea, but I haven't heard a peep from you. Oh! Is it perhaps so perfect that you can't find a single thing wrong with it?
Fear not, Miss Hudson. Your tea still has plenty of room for improvement.
Your personality has plenty room for improvement!
Okay, I fucking love her.
Your personality has plenty room for improvement.
Ah, this game is funny. If only she were wrong.
Watson?
Watson grew so serious that Hudson was caught off guard. The air shifted from mildly stuffy to uncomfortably dense. Following something between a scoff and a sigh, he continued to pester Holmes. I think you need to give her a bit more of what she wants, don't you? Don't you? She'll do anything for you. If it's for you, no barrier is too tall. And you know this, surely. So why won't you take her hand? I'm not certain that's any business of yours. It's very much my business. I've been watching the two of you since the day we met her. You both worry to God over one another. She does what she believes is best for you and you for her, and for what? For you to push each other away? Hurt each other? I'm sick of it. We're hurting our Disney princess friend. Spacey is strong and cheerful as can be. She won't give up no matter the obstacle. All stunning qualities. And I'm adorable. I mean, aside from the fact that my eyes are falling off my face, but like, whatever. I know. But were you to ask me, the more reluctant someone is to show their weaknesses, the more likely it is they're putting on a brave face before others only to cry when alone. The last thing they want is to be a burden for the ones they love the most. When it's the worst of times for them, the only thing they'll do is smile, laugh, bury it. Oh, yeah, that's kind of true. I want to make something very clear, Holmes. I don't care how smart you are, or how fine of a detective you've become. If you think nothing of making a girl suffer, I will look down on you. I love Disney Princess Jellyfish hair. There's more to being a man than playing perfect. I suppose those are your father's words. No, thought of them off the top of my head. And speaking of, I'll bash your head in if you make her cry. Don't test me. He's made me cry plenty of times, but I'm a crier, so it's okay. Good God. Why must everything end in fisticuffs with you? What was that? Nothing, my dear friend. The next morning, Pendleton was routinely pouring me some tea when he asked a very unexpected question. Are you certain you were content to leave so abruptly yesterday, my lady? Of course. It wouldn't do to break curfew. Your curfew was not to what I was referring. If I may be specific, should you not have returned Holmes's gloves? You noticed? I did, yes. I don't recall raising you as one who would forget when she's borrowed something of another's. Well, no, of course I didn't forget. I was going to keep them, but I promised you I would stay away from him, and I don't wish to break that. It's quite admirable for you to regard our promise with such importance. And that being said, my lady, you ought to return that which belongs to him. What? That didn't make any sense. Should I? But what about our promise? I have no doubts you'll continue to honor that in the future. And that comes from the part of you who also can't lie to herself, and that concerns me for the present. So, take these. Pendleton presented me with Holmes's gloves, now perfectly cleaned and pressed. I don't believe he would have preferred his belongings to be returned to him creased and dirty, so I took the opportunity to wash them for you. Thank you so much, really. Here's what I don't understand. What the fuck? You'll never be alone with Holmes. Well, that's gonna be awkward, but okay. So she's like, I won't be with Holmes. Okay. And then he's like, don't you think you should give him his gloves back? But you I promised I would never be alone with him. Yeah, but you can still give him his gloves back, and I trust that you'll never be alone with him again. Pendleton, you were supposed to see the error of your ways and be like, oh, I could never stop two lovers in love, or two kids in love, whatever. Two young people in love, run free. Skip through the daisies, whatever, Like, but Pendleton, you're still being a dick about this. I mean, I get it. You want me for yourself, and I want you too, Pendleton, but the game won't let us have each other, okay, is all I'm saying. It won't let me have you, Pendleton. You can't have me. It's like we're just destined to, like, just drift apart, and I have to be with other people. It's just, but I'll always love you, Pendleton. Oh, God. Anyway. You'll always be 10 steps ahead of me, won't you? Yeah, Pendleton is like 10 steps ahead of everybody. He's just fucking master. And what felt like the first time in ages, my heart was lighter. I accepted the gloves with a new win, thanking Pendleton silently, and yet I'm sure he still heard it. I'll return these to him by the end of the day, Pendleton. And I'm terribly sorry for, I haven't the faintest idea what you're apologizing to me for. I felt it was only right to do so. That's all. It's now or never. When I give these back, I'm going to tell him how I truly feel about him. Before I left, I found myself clenching his gloves once more. Good day, Holmes. Forgive me for taking so long to return these to you. It was painful to hand them back. It was our last connection, and now it was gone. Well, I had given them to you. With your memory, I'd expected you to forget all about them. I would do no such thing. This isn't right. Why? Why does he manage to rile me like this with every word? It's going to be really steamy in the sheets because he's just going to say things and it's going to make you so angry. It's going to be good, is all I'm saying. Oh, how improper that is. Spacey is so improper. That's why I don't live back in the day, because I'd have been burned as a witch or something. I don't know. I have something I must tell you, Holmes. Yes? Come on. Out with it. He was curt, yes, but he still waited patiently for me to find the words. This isn't the time to turn tail and flee. I want you to know the truth, Holmes. I never want to lie to you again. I took a deep breath. My heartbeat pumped at a rate that defeated my ears. Oh, that deafened my ears. What? God, I can't read. I could scarcely hear a thing. My throat pinched with a tightness that stung. I could not breathe, but I could finally speak. Holmes, I love you! Just expecting her to, like, turn out one sentence. Holmes, that is, there's something I should like to tell you after school. Why can't you say it now? It's not appropriate for the classroom. But, sir, no, it'll only be a minute. Even half a minute will do.
Good morning, Mr. Holmes, Miss Whitley.
The classroom door flew open with dramatic force.
Whatever were you two discussing? Well, it doesn't matter now. I must ask that you take your seats. The rest of you in the hall, too.
One by one, our fellow schoolmates filed into the room. Contrary to Mr. Mackenzie's sterling energy, each student appeared more woeful than the last. Good morning, Watson. He was like, guys, wait, they're going to confess their love to each other. And everyone's like, and then Mr. Mackenzie burst in, and they're all like, oh. That's just what I imagine is happening. I don't know if that's the case, but I like it. It's fun. Yeah, I'm sorry, Spacey. If only I could have kept him a bit longer. Oh, no. Are they watching us from there? How mortifying.
A pleasant morning to you, Spacey.
Oh, Marple, and to you as well.
Here, I'd like you to have these biscuits. My grandmother made them. Even our cat Isabella absolutely loves them.
Marple then promptly displayed her gift, complete with an adorable pink paper to coddle them. They're fucking Christmas cookies. Look at that shit. There's Christmas trees and fucking stars. Those are goddamn Christmas cookies. How sweet. But do you really feed your cat biscuits?
Oh, we do. In our household, our cats enjoy tea time with us. The taste is rather simple, but personally, I find they're a delight.
This is really lovely of you, Marple. I can't wait to try them. I carefully secured them into my pocket for later. Mr. Mackenzie gave one polite final indicator that social affairs were to cease for the time being, and so I took my seat as instructed. The entire time my hand was pressed to my chest as if to calm my racing heart. Dash it! Why didn't I say it instead of putting it off? I'm a fool. A coward! Holmes? What is it? Never mind. Stop looking at me with such pity. I could see the two were having a conversation about something or other, but I didn't have much courage to continue admiring Holmes even from a distance.
Good morning, class. Now, before we begin the day, I have something I would like to announce.
True to his character, he remained ever brimming with gaiety over the melancholy permeating the room.
Some of you may already be aware, but it bears mentioning nonetheless. With the help of his friends, our very own Sherlock Holmes successfully solved the crime he was implicated in, finding the true culprit and clearing his name at one fell swoop. As a reward for his, everyone's certainly, brave efforts, our class has the honor of receiving a special recommendation from Scotland Yard.
You're welcome, everybody. What a fantastic cause for celebration! The room erupted into applause and cheers from the news.
Words cannot express how proud I am to be part of an academy that produces exceptional students like yourselves, and to be your teacher, no less.
The melancholy from before his announcement remained in a small form, but for the moment it at least had the decency to cast itself to the shadows of the room in favor of a brighter, cleaner air. I too could breathe lighter.
In addition, I have something I need to give Holmes. A return, rather. Inspector Lestrade of the Yard placed your ring in my care yesterday. It's time you wear it again.
Poor Holmes hasn't had that since the Lupin investigation. His finger now appeared regrettably accustomed to being barren since he left the ring in the inspector's care. Knowing Holmes as I did, he would have been content with this. For what he lost as proof of his title, he gained an inspiration to solve the unsolvable. And now he could have both. Seeing the moment of its return made me happier than I thought it ever would.
Come here, Holmes.
Yes, sir. Holmes left his seat and moved to the front of the classroom. My heart beat faster than normal once again, but I didn't want to waste a second missing his back as he walked forwards. I'd been protected so many times by that back of his. I knew so well how reliable it was. How warm it was. You already confessed your feelings to him. You told him you loved him there, so why is saying it again awkward? Oh, that's enough. I need to stop. It's making my chest hurt again, unless it was because you're like, well, maybe he thinks it was just in the heat of the moment. I love you. I feel the same. And then you're like, wait, do you? And then later you're like, so, wait, is that because thought we were going to die? I mean.
Well then, Holmes, allow me to present you with... Oh?
As Mr. Mackenzie, standing regal and proud, placed his hand in his jacket's inner pocket, he froze.
What on earth? How? Why, this doesn't make any sense.
Regality was lost to a fluster of movement as he searched one pocket after another for his lost little something. He couldn't have... No! I must be making a mistake.
Did he lose the ring?
That's rather rude to say aloud, Kobayashi. He knows very well how important that ring is. He wouldn't be so careless with it.
Oh, absolutely. I could never...
Well, now we're in a pickle. And he's gone back to his doom and gloom self, too. Is that a cat? There was no mistaking it. I and the rest of the class could hear its mewing and whining from outside the window, and we all turned for a look.
Well, Jacqueline, did you follow me to school again?
Could be Jacqueline, but just write it as Jacqueline. I have no idea. I'm just Jacqueline. Was this black cat apparently sporting a leather collar of no particular fashion, but plenty functional. And for now, it was taking a leisurely stroll across a nearby hedge. Is she yours, sir?
Yes, Jacqueline's taken to wandering about the academy of late, and making a mess of my belongings. Oh, what handful cats are.
Should you be leaving your pet alone to wander the grounds, then? If it's able to make it to the academy unaccompanied, then it'll wander home when it feels like it. I don't see the harm in leaving it.
Look! Something's in her mouth!
No, Holmes, isn't that your ring? Huh? He's gone. How did he leave Mr. Mackenzie's side so quickly? Neither Holmes nor Jacqueline were anywhere to be seen.
Dear me, now what's become of Holmes?
He's gonna get attacked by the cat. Upon noticing the ring, his face changed into a rather funny color, then swoosh, off he went. Of course it would. That ring proves he's a detective. We have to find it. Mr. Mackenzie! I jumped out of my seat with a burst of energy. This is like the end chapter, and it's like, oh my god, we're going so fucking over time. I wish to ask you a favor.
What a coincidence, Miss Whitley. I have something I should like to ask you. Well, all of you, as it happens, to do for me.
Yes? What is it?
It's a terrible thing, really. Bringing pets into the academy grounds is expressly forbidden, so...
Thus, we as a class set about trying to find Jacqueline before any other teachers caught wind of her. I'm going to leave this part here. On our hunt for Jacqueline and getting the ring back. So, yeah, so we'll continue and I'm guessing get the end. Like, this last chapter's long, but maybe we'll get our end in the next part, and then we'll just start going down the bad ending for home. So, like, because I think we have to choose a lot of wrong things. So, we'll have to skip through. Do a lot of skipping. So I don't know, we'll see how long the next part goes and see if we end it on the happy ending and then do the bad ending. I don't know. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.